welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is BME Queen and I love reading books. And today I'm going to tell you guys about some spooky haunted house books that are perfect for the spooky season in October. I'm a huge fan of Halloween. I love costumes, I love the spookiness, I love dressing up, but I hate haunted houses. I will never go to a haunted house or a haunted corn maze or a haunted hayride, none of that. So instead, I like to read about it in books. The first one is called Delicious Monsters, and it is by a fairly new author. Her name is Lizelle Sambury. I did a book post on this on TikTok in the beginning of 2023, and this book is pretty hefty, so it is not a light read by any means, but it is about a girl who is a YouTuber and she does a docu-series on different unsolved mysteries. So in this book particularly, she wants to investigate a girl who goes missing in a house that is believed to be haunted, and she tries to uncover the truth of that girl's story. So this book is pretty interesting because it is told in two timelines. So it's the current timeline of the black girl YouTuber who's trying to uncover the history of this girl. She goes around interviewing people in the town. She does her own documentary series on it, and she does that entire investigation with her best friend and also alongside a very famous media company. And at the same time as that story, you're also reading the story of the girl herself that is being investigated. So what happens when she first moves into the house, all the weird and eerie things that happen as she lives there. The girl that lives in the house also can see dead people, so you start to get an insight of how she's got these powers and what happens when she goes in the house. So like I said, this book is really long. I also do want to give a trigger warning that this book does have instances of SA, so if that is triggering to you, do not read this, because it does touch on that a bit throughout the book. Overall, I think this book presents a lot of really interesting ideas about people that are able to see dead people, also known as mediums. It really made me think about mediums in a way that I had never thought about before. But unlike stories that I've read before where there's two separate timelines that eventually end up colliding, this one doesn't collide because it's talking about something in the past with the girl who can see dead people. So that's the one thing I feel like this book was missing, although it is very different from any other book that I have read in the past. The next book that I want to talk about is Then She Was Gone, and this is by Lisa Jewell. So Lisa Jewell has done a ton of stories, and I think this is actually part of a series, but she typically is a fiction mystery writer. So this was one of my favorite books that I read during the pandemic shutdown. I really enjoyed this. I think I read it in less than 2 days, so it is a really pretty easy read. But this book is about a girl who goes missing after walking home from school. It takes place in the UK, so there is some language barrier in that I didn't understand a lot of the references because I do not speak British English. But the mystery behind the story and how this girl goes missing, and then how the detectives start to investigate, and the different characters that they run into, this is so good. After reading this book, I actually binged a lot of Lisa Jewell's books. If you guys want to see more of her books, let me know in the comments below. But like I said, she is a really phenomenal novelist that writes a lot of mysteries and really good fictional stories that are just like suspenseful and juicy and thrillers and everything that we want in a mystery during spooky season. This book is related to haunted houses in that the detective starts to knock on doors near where the girl went originally missing and discovers a lot of really interesting things about one of the neighbors down the street. So this one is a goodie and an oldie, but it's worth it. So definitely check out this book, Then She Was Gone. Now, this next book was sent to me by a publisher. I do get books sent to me by various publishers because I reviewed books for a long time on TikTok. So this book was sent to me by Murrow, and it has just been released. It's called Murder in the Family. I am a huge murder mystery reader, so this book seemed to be on par with me, which is why I accepted the PR package. However, I did not read beyond 10 pages of this book because of how the story was told. So this book is about a detective who wants to reopen the case from his own family's murder mystery. It has a very interesting plot based on the summary that's on the back of the book and also what was sent to me via email. However, this book is not written like a regular book. It's actually written as if it's a TV script. And that was something I did not expect, nor did I want to read in a book. So I did not read beyond page 10 because it just did not speak to me. I could not pay attention to it. I just did not have any interest in how it was written and the style and format of this book. So if that is something that speaks to you, let me know. Give this a read. It is out and available right now on the shelves, but this is not something that I read nor will ever be reading in the future. So this next book is The Paris Apartment. It's written by Lucy Foley. So I got this book on a whim at Barnes & Noble, and the reason why is because I really love Paris, and I thought I could get an insight of Paris apartments and like the Parisian culture from reading this book. I will say they do have a lot of French that is translated in this book. It's really interesting because it actually flows really well in the script and the dialogue of the characters. So I do like that they incorporated that piece. This book is about a girl who is from the UK that wants to visit her brother that is living in Paris. But when she arrives to her brother's apartment, he is seemingly missing. So she spends her visit trying to figure out what happened to her brother while staying in his Parisian apartment. This is a really interesting book. I will say it did die down a little bit in the middle, where there's a lot of fluff, as I will call it, in the middle of this book. And the reason why I say that is because as they start to uncover the truth behind every single character, author goes into a lot of segues that I didn't think were completely necessary for this book. I think they could have done without those segues and the plot would have still come together really well. I will say this book is very interesting because it's written through the perspective of multiple characters. So you read it through the perspective of the girl who's looking for her brother. You read it, and you also read it through the perspective of all of her neighbors that live in the same apartment building as her. And instead of you taking sides of one character as you normally would when a book is multiple pointed POVs, I actually found myself questioning whose side I was on while I was reading this book. So this is a pretty interesting read that I would recommend if you have a love for Paris culture, and also if you just love a good mystery with multiple characters in it. People just don't like to read books through multiple POVs, and I totally get that. This is a book that does that, so if that is not your cup of tea, then this really isn't the book for you. Overall though, this did have a really great ending that I was very surprised by. So the ending really threw me for a loop. I would definitely recommend that you pick this up if it sounds like something of your taste. Those are the 4 spooky books that I have for you guys. If you like any of these books and want more mystery recommendations, let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.